And we are back. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, don't worry. As I usually say, yes, this is the first conversation of the day, and it's around life. And we're looking into resilience and coping skills for life challenges. Life can throw a lot of things to you, but how do you build resilience and coping skills? For this particular discussion, as I had said earlier, we have been joined by an expert. We have Pastor Chris Omondi, as the title already alludes to. He's a pastor, but he's also a life coach, and he's told me he has over 20 years of experience, or 2 decades of experience. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Glad to have you.
I'm also glad to be in studio.
Awesome. So I don't know if I missed on something while introducing you, so maybe you can tell us what you do in detail.
Thank you. Chris Omondi, certified life coach and pastor. So ideally, as a life coach, what you do is that you work with individuals to realize their potential, overcome limiting beliefs, and help them set up structures for accountability on how they can be able to realize their dreams and achieve their goals.
Okay.
Yes.
So you help people realize their potential.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Quite interesting, because I think it's also something that I'm very passionate about, unlocking potential, So how do you do that? How do you really go through that? Do you have a program, that you take people through?
Yes, I would say first, every person goes through a unique set of challenges. And so once I meet someone who has a certain kind of a challenge, we sit together and I get to understand where you're coming from, and then what exactly you're facing and what you'd want to fulfill. So they basically say that in every person something works. So as a life coach, the first thing you have to understand is what has been working for this person. And then we build on that energy to realize the other missing gaps on what is not there. Probably, just to give an example, you could be a young person who's out there and you just finished school, or probably you dropped out of school and you still need to succeed. You have a dream. So the thing is, you have to start from somewhere. We have to look at what are your skills, what are you passionate about, what have you done before, and what are you willing to do different so that you can become that person or you can achieve that goal you are pursuing. So it is basically walking. It's a journey. It is not an event. So there is no what I would call silver bullet approach to this. So you have to sit with the person and understand them and walk with them from their consciousness. One has to be self-aware of who they are first, what they're able to do, and the amount of investment they're willing to put down in terms of time, in terms of learning, and in terms of just patience with themselves to be able to grow into the new sphere of life they are aspiring to become. Yes.
Okay, incredible. You have
Thank you.
explained that very well. So now, looking at resilience,
Yes.
how would you define resilience? Because some people, don't understand it, and some people think that there are people who seem to be resilient or just born resilient. So tell us a little bit about resilience.
Thank you. When it comes to resilience, I will just put it in a very general way, and I would define it as the ability to adapt positively in the face of adversity. So there's an interesting quote by former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson, who said that everyone has a plan until they get punched on the mouth. So everyone has a plan in life. So we all have plans, but at times life will throw you a curveball. So it could be you've just started business and all of a sudden you thought you'd have this big market expansion and you realize no one is buying your product and you've already invested resources. So what do? So when it comes to resilient, you have to start looking at ways to navigate the challenges. And you have to look at ways that work for you, because we all have different kind of advices there, but you have to customize it for you to make it work for you. So as a resilient person, you have to look at what really works for me and where I am currently, whatever is facing me, how can I adapt mechanisms that will push me from step 1 to 2 or 3 so that I don't cave in or I don't bow out of the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you build on that? Like, how do you build resilience? How do you develop the mechanisms to
Yes.
get you from this point to that point?
Thank you again, Stephanie. The process of building resilience, again, as I've said, it's a journey. And I will start by what is easy for anyone, and that is self-talk. So you talk to yourself more than any other person talks to you. And this self-talk is happening, of course, subconsciously in your brain. And research has it that more than 80% of our self-talk is negative. So you really have to be conscious of what you're telling yourself at any given moment. So there are talks of fear within yourself. And so as a resilient person, you have to make a determined decision that when I wake up, I will program my mind in such a way that the only thoughts I will entertain will be positive and uplifting ones. So for example, like me,
Okay.
as a pastor, I wake up and one of my favorite verses is the one that says, "This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be so glad in it." So before I greet anyone, before I check on my phone, that is what I say.
Like, this is the day.
This is the day,
This is
so
what
I'm
the
going to
Lord has
enjoy
made.
it.
Yeah, I'm
No
going
matter,
to.
no matter what's happening, I have to enjoy this day, and I will experience joy. So by doing that, I've released positive energy in the atmosphere, and that is faith. And so I expect that and nothing less than that. So the other thing you can do uh, for you to become self-resilient is affirmation. So depending on who you are, so other people can get affirmations from motivational speakers.
Yeah.
Others get motivational from their spiritual background. So when you affirm yourself and you tell yourself, I have what it takes. I'm uniquely positioned to handle anything. You speak to yourself with such faith and with such understanding that whatever you need to do is you are wired to become that, and you are wired to achieve that. That is more important because out there are so many people who are discouraged, and if you're waiting for them to encourage you, they're also dealing with their issues. So you have to be your first encourager and build on that energy to propel yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it starts with you.
Yeah, it starts with you.
You affirm yourself. You
Yes.
talk to yourself.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's profound because, as you've said, people are going through things out here.
Yeah.
So if you do not really encourage yourself, then you'll live to be discouraged.
You'll get lost. You'll get lost
Yeah.
in the battles of life because the person you're expecting to come through for you, they're also carrying some load. And they might not exactly communicate to you what they're going through, and you might feel disappointed, but you're the one on the steering wheel of life. So you cannot expect the passenger. Your friends, your family, they're passengers. You are the one who's the lead. So you have to be sober, you have to be vigilant, and you have to be constantly, your eyes are on the road and on the goal. So by doing so, you'll have to really speak to yourself and enjoy being you. You know, I say there are so many versions of different people out there, and if you don't become your best version, then who will become you? So you really have to enjoy being you and bring the best of your version in the game. Yeah.
Wow. So I read somewhere, there's no one that can be more you than you.
Yes, yes.
So you are the only person who can be.
Yeah, there's
The
only
you.
one you. So you may as well decide that as long as I'm journeying this life, no matter what is thrown at me, I'll try to make the best out of me in handling that matter. And one of the other ways you've asked me about what to do, just learn to relax. And I will say 95% of what happens to us is not really what makes life. The 5% of how you respond to the things which happen to you, that's what really determines what your life will become. So our response to challenges, our response to adversity, our response to disappointments and heartbreaks, that is what really sets you apart. Yeah, so it's not really what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really how you respond.
How you respond to
Yes,
things.
how you respond to things.
Okay.
So it's a choice.
And we'll get to that, you know, how we're supposed, because we have been told that we're not supposed to be reactive.
Yes.
But
Respond.
responsive, yeah,
Yes.
to life and everything. But what are some of the major life challenges that really throw people off? Like, what are these common life challenges that get
Yep.
people thrown off?
I could mention several, but let me just talk of, let's say, top 3, top 5. One, if you have a health issue, because it affects your body and your performance mechanism, it will really shake some things in you. And so we have lots of people who are going through different challenges health-wise, but I just want to tell you is that there's a way out. And the good thing is probably whatever you're going through, someone else has also gone through it. But now the question is, what intervention measures do I take? So I can give an example of myself. A few months back, I woke up and had a health challenge, and I looked at myself on the mirror, and my face had almost moved. So
Oh.
yeah, it's called face palsy.
Really?
Yes. So my mouth and my mouth had basically moved to almost 4 inches to the other side.
No.
Yes.
I mean, it was random, something just happened?
Yes, something just happened. I slept well. I woke up a different guy.
Wow.
So I felt like I was connecting with a different person who is not me. It was very, I was shaken, of course, because that wasn't me. But then I had to make a very quick, deliberate choice not to panic. Because once you panic, you throw faith out of the window. So what I did is that I started Googling, of course, like what could this be? And so it was bordering around the issues of like, yeah, I was told it's face palsy, and it's a situation that does not have any known cure and all that. So at that time I had some what I would call a tooth cavity, and so I was trying to reason it out. Could this be because of an infection or what? So I ran very quickly to see a dentist. So they told me, your central nervous system is damaged. I laughed.
You laughed at that?
Yes, I laughed at that. Because there's a
freaked
place when if you're told something so shocking, you can't cry. You're like, wow.
I would have cried my eyes out.
What is this? But immediately I told the doctor, I'll be back and I'll come back with a different report as a healed person.
Wow.
And the first thing the person asked me is that, you believe in God? I said, yeah, of course I do.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah, so I told them I'll be back, and I didn't know when and I didn't know how, but somehow I just told myself this can't be my reality. So down the line, of course, I consulted doctors, and I also ran for help to spiritual leaders, Christian spiritual leaders who prayed with me and together with family. And sure enough, within a month, I started getting back better to how my health was. I regained my optimum health. And so this could have been a bad situation. To be very honest, there's a point I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I could just start to tear up.
Because like, this is not me.
This is not me.
Who's this person in the mirror?
It's so hard because I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, because you see, there's a realignment of your face.
Oh.
So you're basically looking at, this is a stranger.
Yo.
And so what do? You have to walk with this stranger until you go back to the guy you knew. So it's just a choice.
Okay.
So I'm just here as a living testimony that you can have a health challenge, trust in God, work with prayer professionals and a supportive team, and go back to how you are and overcome adversity. That is just one way. Yeah, so the other thing, maybe you're out there, and I don't think anybody likes being broke. Yeah,
Nobody
so
wants to be
it's a
broke.
distress to so many people, to so many young people who have gone through school, and they've given their best, and they're out here and they're wondering, what do I do? So what I will tell you is, in the past, what have you done so well? What do people say you are good at? What do you believe what uniqueness do you see yourself having? Just start building on such. So I'm just giving a few examples, like a health issue, a financial challenge or burden, or you had a good stable job, all of a sudden you've been fired. It could be an opportunity for you to actually launch out in the business you've always wanted to do. But you have to do this with some support system. So many times people fail because we don't seek help. Like for me, you see, I was quick to realize I can't do this by myself. Yeah, I didn't expect it, but I just know there has to be someone out there who knows how to handle this better than me. And you don't feel shy, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, you just reach out and say, hey, I need help.
Yes. I think that is also very key, especially for the boy child, you know.
Yes.
In the recent period, especially with the current generation, I'd say, men are not as open, you know. Men keep to themselves, and like they end up, the statistics have it that men are the ones who have higher rates of suicide compared to females.
Yeah.
So there's something, that there's a problem somewhere, and I believe it's the sharing.
Yeah.
You know, a problem shared is half resolved.
Yeah.
From your story, you had your family, you had spiritual leaders, people to carry you through when you're like, I don't have the energy today. Someone is, let me take it, you know, someone is still carrying you.
Yeah.
So what is the importance of that? How much would you advise people to share and speak out?
What I would say is that when you are drowning, the only one word which comes to mind is help. So shout help to the people you know can actually help. Don't share your story for pity, because at times the thing that will make men not share out is that they fear they'll be ridiculed, or they fear it will be used against them. So what I would advise is look for support system, look for people, look for family members. It may not be everyone, but someone you trust. You have to trust someone who you can work with, and you have to trust somebody, or you have to trust a system or an organization that can be willing to give you audience and say, okay, fine, we hear what you're saying, and we'll either be able to pray with you, we can work with you professionally, we can contribute something. So the idea of holding back will not help at all, because when someone is drowning, the most important word they should remember is help. Just shout help. We even told biblically, there was a guy who was called blind Bartimaeus, and when Jesus was passing, this guy kept shouting, Son of David, heal me. And it said that people tried to shut him down, but the more they tried, the louder he shouted. So you have to be in that moment where you say, I really have to get out. I really have to get healed. I really have to succeed. Whichever door I need to knock, I'll knock. So long as it's a good one, it's one that will bring me closer to my goals and will not have any repercussions that are negative, because that's another challenge. I've been in situations where people are in a bad place and they reach out to the wrong person, and then other people take advantage of you. So just try and look at, analyze and ask, does this person have what it takes to support me? And are they approachable, or who can I use to connect me to this person? But whatever you do, you have to win. Just tell yourself, I didn't come all the way from, I didn't land here on earth just to be mediocre. I have to win at all costs.
At all
costs, I have to win. Yeah, you must have a winner's mindset.
Yes. I love it. So basically, seek help. When you're drowning,
shout help. Shout help.
Shout to the right people.
Yes.
Just look. It's not the people who are sometimes close to you that are the right people. Maybe you have bad company around you, and you know it, because there's a way just to know that my company is not good. You can't lie to yourself. You know.
Yes.
You can lie to everyone but yourself.
Not yourself.
Yeah. So you know the company have bad people. So you find someone that you can actually reach out to and confide in and get the help that you need. There's
very true.
Let me ask you, for someone who feels, and it's one person who would be many people, someone who feels that I'm going through this thing, and it's very unique to me.
Okay.
Like, I don't think any other person can understand. This is a very unique challenge, whatever it might be, and maybe it's a problem that is very not really isolated, but
peculiar. Peculiar to you. Unique to you.
Peculiar. Something that people will judge you for. You know, maybe you're going through an addiction. You have some addiction, and you know it's ruining you, but you can't really. So it's eating you up from inside, and you don't think that anyone would understand. You think that someone will judge you for it. So, and this thing really it's eating you up,
Yeah.
and everything is working against you.
Very
you know,
true. Yeah.
the money, because we're talking about some of the major things, and you are at this point where everything is just not working.
Yeah, yeah.
The money is not coming in. You have pressure because in this world you have to pay for fare.
Yeah.
You have to eat something.
Yes.
So money is really
Yes. It
running
plays around
things,
everywhere.
you know. Yeah, you have people. Maybe this is someone who maybe has a family, and
Yes.
they're giving you pressure. Why are you not providing? Why are you not coming through? Maybe, you know, a lot of things. Your friends are giving you pressure, so there's pressure everywhere.
Yes.
How do you deal with that?
That's a wonderful question, Stephanie. There's a book by an author called Chinua Achebe. The book says, titled Things Fall Apart. So at times things will fall apart. But there's a very important wisdom that is shared and insight that says that the tree that will not bend with the wind will be broken. So when there's a lot of pressure and you try to be very stiff and you try to be very rigid and you're trying to reason out, if I say this, people will do this and do that, you might be broken by the wind. So at times try and bend. Try and do what is not easy for you. But at the end of the day, you will come back to yourself, you will come back to your original position and withstand the wind. So by this I say, you will need to exercise some humility in spite of the challenge and ask, who around me or who do I know who has the capacity and the potential to give me a better advice, better information, or a helping hand. So if you really start thinking through that and focusing on that, you will get an answer. Because it's said that whatever you focus on expands. So as we are here, probably you are not thought of any red color. But if you start looking at any red color around, you'll see lots of it.
Yeah.
You see? So the same way, when you start focusing on who can help me, who is able, who has what it takes to handle or understand my situation, you'll start seeing lots of such people. The problem is if you stick to only your peers who might not have the competence, the understanding, or the empathy to work with you, then that will become a dilemma, because you're only trying to do what is easy. But what you should really try to do is what's appropriate. And what's appropriate is asking yourself the right question. Who has what it takes to help me at this particular time?
Okay.
You'll find some answers. Yes.
So you just need to look around.
You have to focus on what
Focusing.
is right. And remember the issue we talked about, self-talk, that a lot of our self-talk is negative. Like, I'll give an example. I read a story about someone who had an accident and he passed out. And when he came back to his senses, the first thing he felt was a lot of sweat around him. So this person, in his presumption, he didn't really think of sweat at first. He thought of bleeding. So when he touched this and he felt some wetness around his head, he knew, I'm done. I've been bleeding all this time. It was just sweat. You see? So at times we really sweat the small stuff, and it really takes it takes us out of the main issue which you are dealing with. So you find people major on the minor and minor on the major. So there are all these complexities. So what I would say is that for such a person, exercise humility and just ask, is there anyone who can give me a listening ear? And most of the time, there are lots of people who are empathetic. Most of the time, there are lots of people who can even pray with you. There are lots of people who can refer you to someone who is a professional, who will work with you and tell you, you know what, this challenge, you're not the first one. You cannot be the first one.
Nothing is new under
Nothing
the sun.
is new under the sun. You know, in scripture we are told, no temptation has come to any man, such as is common to all, and God will make a way of escape. So there's a way of escape for you right now. Whether it is that you've been fired, you have a health challenge, someone has just been, you know, you're going through a heartbreak, a relationship issue, or you had invested somewhere and things have just gone left. So let me tell you, the issue is how you'll bounce back. If you focus so much on what has happened, it will drain your energy. But if you ask yourself, what tools can I leverage to deploy to start addressing this one day at a time? You may not solve everything at once, but just start the journey of recovery, one day at a time, and you will reach there.
Okay. And it's as simple as that. Just taking a day at a time.
It's a day at a time.
Breathe. As you're
Yes,
breathing
breathe,
today,
relax.
just
Yes.
some people have a problem,
Yeah.
or they have the perception just from how you were raised or your association to people. You feel like you don't want to be a burden to
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
And that's, I believe, where most people who are find themselves depressed get themselves in, where you know you want to seek help,
Yeah.
but you feel like, because I've been confiding on this person so much, and it's
Yeah.
the same problem. It's not going. They're tired of me by now. You know, then how are you supposed to talk yourself out of that? Because
okay.
it's a talk that you have already started in your head.
Yes.
You thinking you are a burden to others. So how do you go about this so that you do not die with your problems?
So that you don't feel like you're such a load to others. I would begin by advising and say it's much easier to apologize than to ask for permission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so if you need to win, you'd rather go to keep asking for help and keep engaging someone. And probably if they say they're too busy or you're too much, you can always apologize. But you cannot ask them, can I ask you for assistance on how to talk to you? You know, such a question. You know, it's like you're trying to ask how to ask. Just go direct and say, hey, right now I have this problem and I really need you to come on board.
Yeah.
Because your main issue is you have an understanding this is not your true identity. So once you have a true identity of who you ought to be, then it becomes easy to overlook some of those presumptions and prejudices that you are speaking to yourself. And I would also like to say that in regards to the same question, Stephanie, most of the time we operate within the context of the vision we have of ourselves. If I see myself as a great person, then I will not allow something like another person's opinion limiting me. Eventually, you're going to celebrate me as a great person. So it will be very easy for me to sidestep that and go and come and tell you know what, right now I'm supposed to go for an interview. I have no suit at all. Could I borrow your suit? Because what you're doing, you're seeing the end from the beginning. You are seeing this will be my story. I'll come back again and say, thank you so much. I once borrowed your suit to go for an interview. I got the job. Here's another suit you can go buy for yourself.
Wow.
So you have to look, you must frame your mind in such a way you see yourself winning at all costs. And you see yourself as a great person. And whatever challenges are in between, you'll figure it out, how to overcome it. But if you get weighed down by other people's opinion, then you'll never take action. And I also want to remind our viewers that you are not other people's opinion. You are who God says you are, and you are who you believe you are. So people can believe anything, but what do you say about yourself? Yeah.
Wow, I love that. If you do not take anything, take that.
Yes.
You are who God says you are, and who you
Yes.
say you are. People's opinion shouldn't matter.
Shouldn't matter as much
Absolutely.
as yours.
Now, based on that, for those that have a terrible opinion of themselves, you know, self-esteem.
Yes.
Like you were born, and you know, maybe it's just the environment that has made you to be that way. You were born in a very humble background, and you grew up when your parents told you you are good for nothing, you are all this and that. So it has got into your system that you're good for nothing. So even when you're in the company of people, you do not take lead because you are good for nothing. You are just there to support others, you know. And supporting others is okay, because when you believe in a vision, you support others. But you're supporting because you do not believe in yourself.
Very
you don't
true.
believe you can do it. So even when you're faced with challenges, you just know that I am good for nothing. You have an interview, you can't borrow a suit because I probably will fail in that interview.
So there's no need to borrow.
There's no need to borrow. Let me just look for something that I have here, because, you know, so you have that perception about yourself. How do you change that?
I'll begin by just reminding you that you are lying to yourself, because biology teaches us before you reached here, you had to beat so many million eggs for you to make it here. So you are born a winner. The very fact that you are here is a testament that you are a winner. So there is no way from the day you are born, you've been winning from the day you are born. So just to build on that, if you never met anyone to motivate you, just remember you had to beat so many others for you to be born. So you reached this planet as a winner. So you have to continue as a winner.
Okay.
Yeah. And secondly, is that there's the issue of continuous learning and updating your operating system. So expose yourself to content and material that can improve you. I'll give you an example of myself. When I finished high school, there was a challenge. I knew I was bright, but somehow I just couldn't manage to pay up to access university training and education. But I made a deliberate choice to go to the streets and look at any content that was dealing with leadership and business. It will interest you, Stephanie, that I bought so many books until the guy who was selling to me those books thought I was also a bookseller.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was intense.
Yeah, so I just decided I'm going to create my own university within the confines of my room. So I started reading a lot of content around what I wanted to become. So many times when people fail in a certain area, it's because of information.
Okay.
And it's because of understanding. So the good book Bible tells us, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So you can be very nice, a good person, well-meaning, but if you don't update your operating system, how you reason, how you think, and what is inside, then you will play to the information you have. So you'll operate in that place of play second fiddle, as you say, to yourself. So always passing over opportunities to others because you feel you are not good enough. But the day you start looking at information and content that reminds you of how great you are, how uniquely wired you are, you start listening to people like me and other life coaches and other inspirational leaders, then your faith grows. And once your faith grows, it will outgrow the fear and the limiting beliefs. The other thing is you start associating by people who are currently manifesting the results you want to see. One of the things personally I did as a young guy, I started looking for mentors and humbling myself to spend time with them, trying to fix my, trying to ask them if they could accommodate, even if it's 10, 20 minutes, just tell me something that could help me. Because they say you're an average of the 5 people you spend your time with. So if they're like 5 wise person, 4 wise people, you'll be the next 5th wise one. If you are spending time with 4 fools, you're the 5th fool. You know.
Fool,
Yeah. So the idea is try and change your social connections, your support system. Look at it. Do they reflect and do they manifest the kind of results I would like to manifest myself? Probably out there you want to be some mechanic and a top-notch mechanic. Well, that cannot be possible if you're spending time with comedians. So you have to go to the garage.
Yeah.
You have to start spending time around that zone where you want to grow. If you want to be a comedian again, you can't be spending time in the garage. You have to look for people who are like you. So yeah, just looking for your kind. And within a short time, whatever they carry will rub on you. Yeah.
Wow, okay, that is great advice there.
Thank
you. Now, we have talked about self-awareness,
Yes.
and resilience. So what is the importance of being self-aware
Okay.
of, you had alluded to this, knowing your strengths,
Yeah.
your weaknesses, so that you are able to build on resilience? How is basically you being self-aware help how does
it matter?
How does it matter in the journey to being resilient?
Thank you for that. First of all is by being self-aware, you become more prepared to enjoy the unique giftedness you have. Because, for example, if I'm aware that I'm a good singer, then it is easy for me to commercialize that gift because I know I already have a good voice, for example. So I'll start looking at people who can do recordings, singing in church, and all that. So by being self-aware, it makes it easy for you to start the journey of bouncing back to the place of victory. Secondly, self-awareness helps you to have mental toughness because there are so many things that are coming, so many curveballs you're being thrown at by life. So you really have to have this mental toughness to sieve out what will distract you and remove you from your path of greatness, and only allow the things that are propelling you to your dreams and vision. So self-awareness, I will summarize it by, there's a quote, I believe someone, either Art of War, they say, if you know yourself and you know the enemy, you don't need to fear the results of 100 battles.
Okay, come again with that.
If you know yourself and you know the enemy, you don't need to fear the results of 100 battles. If you know yourself and you don't know the enemy, for every victory you gain, you also suffer defeat.
What?
Yes.
If you know yourself,
if you know yourself and you don't know the enemy,
Uh-huh.
anytime you gain victory, you'll also suffer defeat.
How?
Because you're dealing with someone who's more sophisticated than you. You're only aware of yourself and not what you're dealing with.
Ah.
So they'll throw you a curveball.
Wow.
When you think you've won, they'll surprise you with something.
Okay.
Also, when you don't know yourself and you don't know the enemy, you'll succumb in every battle. So you can't afford not to know.
Okay.
Yes.
So the secret is knowing yourself and
knowing what
the
you're dealing
enemy.
with, yes.
Knowing what you're. So the
That is
enemy
the
in this
challenge.
context
Any
is
challenge.
whatever you're dealing
Yes,
with.
that's the enemy. Because it's trying to limit you, slow you, distract you, and throw you off balance. Yes.
How do you build emotional strength, emotional resilience?
Very good.
Ah.
There are many ways to build emotional resilience. One of the things is to just study yourself and look at how do you respond to challenges. Whatever challenge you might be facing currently, try and ask yourself, in the last 5 challenges, whether related or not, how did I overcome them? Did I scream? Was I all over social media telling everyone how things are going bad? Or if there was no social media, was I sulky? Was I not talking to people, or did I talk to people who were able to advise me? So there's that I'll call self-reflection. So you must be able to self-reflect. Secondly, you should be able to plug in or connect to your spiritual strength, and that is your faith. So from what I would say is that who we are is a printout of 4 realms. We have the mental realm, spiritual realm, emotional realm, and physical realm. So the physical realm that we are seeing is a printout of the other 3. So all 3 need to work in sync for you to win. So if you are very intelligent and you are very good, let's say, in whatever you do at work, and let's say spiritually you are down, you have 0 anchoring in terms of spirituality, then it means, the same way I said before, for every victory you gain, you'll also suffer backlash, because there's an aspect of you that is not anchored. So you can have like a seesaw effect. So one day you're up, the other day you're down. But when you have strong spiritual anchoring, you'll understand adversity, challenges are part of life.
Yeah.
But the question is how to navigate through it. So you will not spend time blaming things. Why did they happen? You'll start saying, now that it has happened, how do I move from point A to point B? What can I utilize? What do I know? Who can I work with? Who can I run to? You know, what can I say? What can I do? What can I bring here that will move me from this challenge to the next? Okay. So the whole idea is trying to connect with a strong spiritual anchoring. Secondly, looking for a strong support system, because it's not every day you'll be able to figure out things. So emotionally, you might not be in a place to even tell people clearly what you're going through. But if you can visit a professional, they'll tell you, okay, right now, what you're dealing with is because of A, B, C, D from what you have told me. So what we could do is 1, 2, 3. So seeking help is part of emotional resilience. Secondly, how you talk to yourself. 3, are you a prayerful person? In your worst moment, what do you first do? So for me, my choice is I first pray.
Okay.
Yeah, and I say, God, only you can do this. Help me do 1, 2, 3. Secondly, I ask, is there any man near me? Is there any woman near me who has the capacity to help me scale this challenge? So you must always be scanning through around and reaching out, talking to people, especially who have the capacity. Because if you talk to the wrong person, they can throw you under the bus.
Completely.
Just tell you, oh, it's that thing, oh, you're finished.
You're done.
You're done.
You get
Just,
people who would
yeah,
make you feel like you're going to die the next day.
yeah, just
And
wait
it's
for your
not that
maker.
way.
It's never that bad.
It's never that
It's
bad.
never that bad. But if you panic and if you start running helter-skelter, then the situation will become worse than what has actually happened. Your response will create a protracted issue much worse than how it had, than what had attacked you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Profound. I don't think we can add something to that.
Thank you.
But I'd want you, as we close up on this,
Yeah.
to give a final words.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a summary of all that you've talked about. If they are to remain with something from this conversation
Yeah.
on resilience and coping mechanisms to life challenges,
Yeah.
what would you tell them to do? And this is your camera,
All
so
right.
you can, yeah, straight to it.
Yeah, so we've been talking through a number of ways of how we can be resilient and cope with life challenges. And I just want to encourage our viewers that there's nothing that is happening to you by coincidence or by any random chance. So you've been uniquely positioned to handle whatever is coming at you, and you'll realize, based on what is affecting you or based on what you're dealing with, your glory is within that problem. So for me, I would say one of my most inspirational strength, I draw it from scripture, the Bible. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for good to those who love God. So whatever you're going through is working for you. Over and above whatever you're going through, there's a story. There is a book you'll write about your challenges, and no one else can write about it but you. There's a film probably you're about to make because of the challenges you're going through. So that very challenge is your blessing that is operating undercover. And over and above, just remember, no matter what happens, strive to win, and you're more than a conqueror. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Chris. We do appreciate you. I'm
you.
sure many are encouraged, enlightened by this discussion.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, so that has been Chris Omondi. He is a pastor and a life coach, and we've been talking about resilience and coping skills for life challenges. I hope you've been encouraged. If you are feeling low, know that all things work for good for those who are called by God and those who love God. So it's working for your good, and it's going to make you stronger and the people around you. Your story is maybe for another person. You never know. And this is where we take a break, and then we'll be back with the next conversation, and it's around politics. So stay with us right here.